the 5th petal of the second layer. So you finish the 11 single crochet on the last row. Just do a slip stitch into the last front loop, and then the second layer is finished. Now you're going to do a slip stitch into the marker, the back loop that we have a marker here. And we're going to set up the base for the 3rd layer. So do 1 chain and do not count this one as a stitch. And the pattern for the base is 2 single crochet and then 1 single crochet increase, and repeat it 5 times to make 20 stitches together. So 1, 2, and then do an increase here, and then repeat 2 single crochet, then 1 single crochet increase. So the last stitch gonna be an increase. Okay, so you finish and you have 20 stitches for this base. So now do a slip stitch into the front loop of the 1st stitch. And then to start the 3rd layer, you also want the petal to be staggered compared to the 2nd layer. So here we're gonna do 2 more slip stitch into the front loops before we start the 3rd layer. Okay, and then put a marker into the back loop of the stitch that you just do a slip stitch. So now you can start the 3rd layer. So this layer also have 5 petal, and each petal is worked on 4 stitches of the base. So we're gonna start with 12 chains. Then from the 1st vertical bar, insert your hook, and then we're gonna do 12 unfinished single crochet. Okay, so that 12 single crochet into the 12 vertical bar, and then you do 1 more into the 1st stitch, the 1st front loop. So now you should have 14 strands of yarn on your hook, and start pulling through 2 loops at a time. Be very careful. Row 2, we're gonna do 2 chains, and again, when you make the chain, just make it bigger than you normally do it. Then do a slip stitch, do a slip stitch into the 2nd vertical bar. And then you're going to do 10 unfinished single crochet. Okay, so you will have 2 bars that you're not going to work on this row. Now pull the yarn through. For row 3, you can make 2 chains, and then from the 1st vertical bar here, insert your hook, and we're going to do 14 unfinished single crochet along. That 11, 12, 13, and 14. And then do one more in the next front loop. It's going to be the second front loop. As you can see, it's getting very tight on the hook. So when you pull the yarn through the loops, be very careful to only pull through 2 loops at a time. So for row 4, we're going to start from the first vertical bar, insert the hook, and we're going to do 12 unfinished single crochet. Okay, and you're going to have 2 vertical bar that we not going to work. And pull the yarn through. For row 5, we're going to skip the first bar and start from the second bar. We're going to do 2 slip stitch. So skip the first one, insert the hook into the second one, and then do 1 slip stitch and 2 slip stitch. And then make 10 unfinished single crochet. That's 8. The 9th one we're going to be in the junction here. 9 and 10. Then you still have 1 more bar that we're not going to work. For row 6, do 2 chains, make a big chain. And then from the first vertical bar, insert your hook, and we're going to do 13 single Afghan single crochet. So the 12 will be the junction, and 13. And then do 1 more into the next front loop. It's going to be the 3rd front loop. And pull the yarn through. Okay, so for row 7, we're gonna start from the first vertical bar, and you're gonna do 11 unfinished single crochet. Okay, so you have 2 vertical bar that you're not gonna crochet into. Row 8, you're gonna skip the first bar and insert the hook into the second bar, and you're gonna do 2 slip stitch. So 1 slip stitch and a second one. Then do 9 unfinished single crochet. 4, 7. The 8th one gonna be at this junction, and 9. And you still have 1 bar. Okay, row 9. Now do 2 chains, then do a slip stitch into the second bar. Then do 10 unfinished single crochet, 8. The 9th one gonna be at this junction, and then 10 is the last one. Then you're gonna do 1 unfinished single crochet into the next front loop, and this is the 4th front loop, the last one. Okay, so from the first bar, insert your hook, and we're gonna do 10 slip stitch to finish row 10. 1, 2, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Then do 1 slip stitch into the 4th front loops. Okay, so that's the first layer, the first petal of the 3rd layer. So you can see there are 10 rows, and it says work on 4 stitches of the base. 1, 2, 3, 4. So to start the next petal, you're going to do a slip stitch into the next front loop, and this is going to be the first front loop of the 2nd layer, and then repeat the pattern 4 more times until you have 5 petals. You can have a rubber band and tie these layers together, so it's easier to work on the base. I can tie this one as well, like this. I'll see you when you finished all the 5 petals. So we finished the last petal of the 3rd layer. You can see that we have 5 petals in total. So now you're going to do a slip stitch into the last front loop, and then we're going to slip into the back loop where we have the marker. We will start the base for our 4th layer, and for the base the pattern will be 4 single crochet and then 1 single crochet increase, and repeat it 4 times, and you should have 24 stitches in total. So make a chain stitch and do not carry this one as a stitch, and then you're going to make 4 single crochet, and then 1 increase. That 4 single crochet, and then make 1 increase, and then repeat it for 4 times. So the last stitch will be a single crochet increase, and you should have 24 stitches in total. And please do a count of the stitch to make sure that you have 24 stitches in total, and then make a slip stitch into the front loop of the first one. And then to start, before starting the 4th layer like the previous one, we're going to do 2 slip stitch, 1, 2, just to make sure that the 4th layer is darker with the previous layer, and then put a marker into the back loop of the stitch where you just have the 2nd slip stitch. Okay, so the 4th layer is we're gonna have 6 petals in total, and each petal when we work on 4 stitches of the base, so it will be different with the other layer. Okay, so we will start the first petal, and we will start with 13 chains. And the last chain, you can make it a little bit longer. And then working on the vertical bar, from the first one, you're going to make 13 unfinished single crochet. The last one, 13 unfinished single crochet, and then you're going to do one more unfinished single crochet into the front loop, the first front loop, and then pull the yarn through. Okay, that's row 1. Row 2, you're going to do 2 slip stitch starting from the first vertical bar. 1 and 2 slip stitches, and then you're going to make 9 unfinished single crochet. Okay, so you should have 2 more vertical bar. And pull the yarn through. Row 3, make 3 chains. And from the first vertical bar, you're going to start making the unfinished single crochet, and you're going to make 14. The 12th will be in the junction, and then 2 vertical bar that we left from the last row, so that will be 14. And then make 1 unfinished single crochet into the second front loop. So move to the next front loop, and then pull the yarn through. Be careful because you should have many strands of yarn on your hook at this row. For row 4, I'm going to make 2 slip stitch, and then 10 unfinished single crochet. You should have 2 more vertical bar here. Row 5, make 3 chains, and then make 14 unfinished single crochet. Okay, so 14. So you should have 1 more vertical bar that we're not going to work in this row. And pull the yarn through. Okay, so for row 6, starting from the first vertical bar, we're going to make 15 single crochet, unfinished single crochet. Unfinished single crochet into the base. So pick up all the vertical bar until you reach the end. And 1 at the corner here. Okay, so that 15, and then you make 1 more unfinished single crochet into the next front loop. So this should be the third front loop. And then pull it through. For row 7, you're gonna skip the first vertical bar and we start from the second vertical bar, and you're gonna make 2 slip stitch, and then 10 unfinished single crochet. And you should have 2 more vertical bar. For row 8, make 2 chains, make 13 unfinished single crochet, (11, 12, 13), and you should have 1 more vertical bar here. Okay, so for row 9, we're gonna skip 1 and make 2 slip stitch. So starting from the second vertical bar, you're gonna make a slip stitch and then another slip stitch. And then we're gonna make 11 unfinished single crochet, nine, 10 gonna be in the junction with the previous row, and 11. And then you're gonna make 1 more unfinished single crochet into the next front loop, and this should be the 4th front loop, and also the last front loop for this petal. Okay, row 10, make 2 chains, and starting from the second vertical bar, so skip 1, gonna have 10 unfinished single crochet. So you should have 2 more vertical bar. Okay, so for the last row of this petal, starting from the first vertical bar, we're gonna make 12 slip stitch to the end. The 10 slip stitch gonna be in the junction here. Okay, and then you need to do 1 more slip stitch into the same front loop, this is the 4th front loop. Okay, so you finished the first petal of the 4th layer. To start the next petal, you need to do a slip stitch into the next front loop, and this is also the first front loop of the second layer, and then repeat with 13 chains. So you can see that each petal is worked on 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches of the base. So you should have 6 petals when you finish this layer, and I'll see you when you finished all the petals of this layer. Okay, so we finished the last layer of the flowers. So here is the 12th slip stitch, and then you make another slip stitch into the last front loop. Now we're going to use the green yarn to start the flower support. So you see there are 5 petals of the calyx. Okay, so we'll be working on the back loops, and from the last row we have 24 stitches, but for the calyx we need 25 stitches. So you can add 1 more stitches anywhere in this row. Let's make a chain. So just make 1 single crochet into every single back loop, and also add 1 more. I just add 1 right from the start. So you will have 25 stitches at the end of this row. You finished 25 stitches of the base. Now do a slip stitch into the first front loop. And we're going to make 3 chains. And you're going to make 3 unfinished single crochet. Okay, so from here, we're not going to work from this side. You're going to flip your work like this, and we're going to work on the opposite direction. This is because we want the right side of the calyx is facing the opposite direction with the petal. So when we start the row, we pick up the front loop, but when you flip it like this, the front loop will become the back loop. So it is the loop that is further away from you. So here you got 3 unfinished single crochet. Now you need to pick up 1 more unfinished single crochet into the first loop, the loop where we just got the slip stitch. And pull the yarn through. The second row, you're going to make 2 chains, and then skip the first bar from the second bar. You're going to make 4 unfinished single crochet, then 1 more unfinished single crochet into the next back loop. Row 3, make 2 chains, skip 1, and from the second bar we're going to make 5 unfinished single crochet. And then 1 more unfinished single crochet into the third back loop. Row 4, this will be the center of the petal, so you will make 3 chains, and then from the first vertical bar you're going to make 3 slip stitch. And then make 5 unfinished single crochet. Okay, so the next unfinished single crochet, you're going to make it in the same back loop. So the third one, the same one. Row 5, make 1 chain, skip the first bar. From the second bar, you're going to make 1 slip stitch, and then 4 unfinished single crochet. Then 1 more unfinished single crochet into the next back loop. And this should be the 4th back loop. Row 6, chain 1, skip 1, and make a slip stitch into the second vertical bar. And then you're going to make 3 unfinished single crochet. Then 1 more unfinished single crochet into the next back loop, or the fifth back loop. Row 7, which is also the last row of the petal, you're going to chain 1, then skip the first bar. From the second bar, you're going to make 3 slip stitch, and then 1 more slip stitch into the same back loop, the 5th back loop. Then you finished 1 petal of the calyx. So you can see it did work on 5 loops of the base. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So on the 3rd loop, there are going to be 2 rows. To start the next petal, you're going to do a slip stitch and then repeat 3 chains. So you will have 5 petals in total. I'll see you when you finish all 5 petals. So we finished all the 5 petals of the calyx. So here I did 3 slip stitch of the last row, and then we're gonna do 1 more slip stitch into the last loop. Okay, so to continue working the calyx, we will change the direction. Okay, so from this direction, you're just gonna turn your work and then do a slip stitch into the back loop. And make 1 chain. And now you're going to do 25 single crochet along all the back loops here. Just do a single crochet in every single back loops. I got 25 single crochet. Now do a slip stitch into the first stitch. From here you can work on both loops. Okay, so make 1 chain, then 1 single crochet into that first stitch. So in this row, we're going to reduce the stitches. So the pattern will be 1 single crochet and then 1 single crochet decrease, and repeat it for 8 times. So you will did 1 single crochet. Now the next one, you're going to do a decrease. So pick up the front loop of the first stitch, then pick up the front loop of the second stitch and pull the yarn through and then yarn over. That's how you make the decrease, and make 1 single crochet and then another decrease, and repeat it for 8 times. So at the end of the row, you should have 17 stitches left. The last stitch should be a single crochet, then do a slip stitch into the first one. Next row, we will have another 8 decrease. So chain 1 and then make 8 decrease. That 8 decreases, so you should have 1 more single crochet here. But before you do it, you can stop here and to insert some fiber. And then we can continue making. So there should be 1 more single crochet here. Then do a slip stitch. The last row will be 4 decreases and 1 single crochet. Then make a slip stitch and you can cut the yarn. So we finished the flowers. Okay, so start with the green yarn, and we're gonna make 31 chain. When you do the chain, you can make it a little bit loose. 31 chains, and then use the longer wire. Fold it in half and insert it into your work like this. And then do 2 more chains. 1, 2. And insert the hook into the vertical bar that is connect to the wire here, and do a slip stitch. Okay, so now we're going to work on 31 vertical bar of the chain. So the first row, you're going to insert the hook into the vertical bar. We always work on the vertical bar like this, and wrap the yarn through the wire when you work. So you're going to do 4 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochet, and then do 2 half double crochet. Then do 1 half double crochet increase. So 2 half double crochet in one space. And then 2 half double crochet. And then do 4 more single crochet. One, 2, 3, 4. And then the last stitch is going to be a slip stitch into the next vertical bar. So now you're going to turn your work. So I'll show you this the slip stitch that we did for row 1. So when you turn your work, we're going to skip that slip stitch. We're not going to work. We're only going to skip that slip stitch and work on the second one. So when you turn your work, always skip this first one and always work on the second one. And from here, we're going to do 11 single crochet. V-stitch here. And do 11 single crochet. Okay, that 11 single crochet, and then you do 1 slip stitch. Again, this slip stitch, when you turn your work and start the third row, you're gonna skip this one and always work on the second one. So turn your work, skip the first one. The first one is hiding here, and start from the second one. So we're gonna do a slip stitch first into the second space here. And then you're going to do 4 single crochet. Then 2 half double crochet. and 1 half double crochet increase. Then 2 half double crochet. There is one last stitch here. We're going to do 1 single crochet. Okay, so now we're gonna work on the chain stitch again, but to connect it to the previous row, we're gonna do 1 half double crochet into the junction here. So into the chain. This is a stitch where you do the slip stitch in the first row. We're gonna insert the hook in this junction and do a half double crochet. So that will ensure that these 3 rows are connected. And then on the next vertical bar, do 2 single crochet and 1 slip stitch. So now turn your work and always skip the first one, skip that slip stitch. And here we're going to start doing 10 single crochet. And then do 1 slip stitch. Okay. And turn your work and start row 5. Okay, so again, skip the first one and work on the second stitch. And you're going to do 3 single crochet. Then 2 half double crochet. 1 half double crochet increase. And 2 half double crochet. Then do 2 single crochet into these 2 last stitches. So 1 and 2 single crochet. Now we're at the junction again. We're going to do a half double crochet into this last stitch on the base to connect it. And then repeat, do 2 single crochet and 1 slip stitch into the chain. 1, 2, and then a slip stitch. Okay, now turn the work and skip one. Skip the first one, skip the first one and insert your hook into the second one, and you're gonna do 6 single crochet. Okay. And then you're gonna do 6 chains. Do the chain very loose. So that 6th chain gonna be this part of the leaves. Turn your work, and from the second vertical bar, so that this is the first one, from the second one, do a slip stitch. And then working on the vertical bar, we're gonna do 4 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you have to turn your work like this and work toward the end of the leaves and do 1 half double crochet. So this half double crochet is work on these stitches, not on the chain. Then 1 half double crochet increase, then 2 half double crochet, and then 1 single stitch. Okay, so we at the junction again, so we're going to do half double crochet to join, and then you're going to do 2 single crochet and 1 slip stitch into the next vertical bar. 1, 2, and then a slip stitch. And then when you turn your work, skip this slip stitch. So turn your work and hold the yarn very tight. Skip the first one, insert into the second stitch, and here you're going to do 13 single crochet. This is 13 single crochet, and then do 1 slip stitch, turn your work, and skip the first one, insert your hook into the second one, and also do a slip stitch. Then you're going to do 5 single crochet. Then 2 half double crochet. And 1 half double crochet increase. And 2 half double crochet. Then do 2 chains, I'm sorry, 2 single crochet. And then 1 half double crochet at this junction. Then again, 2 single crochet and 1 slip stitch into the next 3 vertical bar. 1, 2, and 1 slip stitch. Now turn your work. Skip the first one and start from the second one. And you're going to do 7 single crochet. Okay, so now we're going to make this part of the leaves where you're going to cast on more chain stitch. So let's do 8 chain and make it loose. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then use the shorter wire, fold it in half. And insert it into your between the yarn. Like this. and then do 2 more chains, and then do a slip stitch into the vertical bar, the second vertical bar where you have the wire. Now you can bend the wire. Okay. So we're going to work on the vertical bar together with the wire. So you're going to do 5 single crochet. After 5 single crochet, you're going to do 2 half double crochet. And then in the last vertical bar, you're going to do a double crochet. So that's, you have worked all the vertical bar of the chain stitch. Now make sure that you keep doing toward the end of the loops, and then in the next space you're going to do a double crochet, and then 1 double crochet increase, and then 2 more double crochet, and then 2 half double crochet, and in the last stitch here we're going to do 1 single crochet. Okay, so now at the junction we're going to do 1 half double crochet, and make sure that you pull the yarn tight to cover all the wire. And then we're going to work on the vertical bar again, and you're going to pull the yarn through all the wires to 2 set of wire. So again, 2 single crochet, and then 1 slip stitch, so you should have 2 more vertical bar. Now turn your work, skip the first one, and from the second one we're going to do 18 single crochet. 18, and then you're going to do a slip stitch. Okay, so turn your work and skip the first one, skip this one, insert your hook into the second one, and also we're going to do a slip stitch. And in the next stitch I'm going to start doing 4 single crochet, then 2 half double crochet, and you're going to do 6 double crochet, then do 2 half double crochet, and then do 3 single crochet. So at this junction do 1 half double crochet, and then do 2 single crochet into the vertical bar. So that's how you finished one side of the loops. The other side is made in the same way. Okay, so bring the yarn below the wire and insert your hook into the first one here. You see that V loops, the first V loops here. Do a slip stitch and then do 1 chain and start from that same stitch. You're going to do a single crochet, and then you're going to do a total of 31 single crochet along the base. So insert your hook in through both loops, the one that you see like a V here, and work the single crochet. So you're going to do 31 single crochet from this one. So this is going to be the first one. So this is 31 single crochet along the base, and you're going to do a slip stitch into the top here. And then turn your work and repeat the pattern from row 1. And when you turn, skip the first one and start from the second one with the single crochet. So repeat the pattern with 4 single crochet, and just follow the pattern as it in this side, and when you finish you will have a complete leaf like this. Okay, so you need to make 2 small leaves like this. So the tutorial for the small leaves is similar to the leaves that we have in the butterfly peony flowers. So I put the link here. You can watch that video for the small leaves. Otherwise, you can just use 1 large leaf if you like, and it looks totally fine. Okay, so we will assemble the leaves together. So you place the small leaf on top of the big one. Like this. And then we will wrap it. Give it like 2 centimeters. Then spread it out to the side like this. Okay, so your leaf is complete. Now we're going to assemble the flowers. So you will need 2 floral wire, 2 or 3, because this flower is quite heavy. Bend the top a little bit. Okay, so our peonies is finished. I hope you enjoy the tutorials, and please like and subscribe to my channel for more upcoming videos. Thank you.